Okay, so we're going to do our second day here with geometry. Our first day was Pythagorean theorem with right triangles. Today we're just going to look at squares and rectangles, and specifically area and perimeter. Let's just do a quick do now. Do it in red. Again, practicing the Pythagorean theorem. I'm teaching geometry this year to sophomores, and this shows up again and again and again. So just feeling really comfortable with how to manipulate right triangles and solve for different sides. Find the right angle, right here in the triangle, and draw that arrow straight across. This is always C. Remember, this is the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. Then we've got, however the other legs you want to label, this is A, and this would be B. So then we've got 7 squared equals plus 24 squared, equals C squared. I remember from my Pythagorean triple, just in the spirit, you can check me, but C is going to be 25. And then we've got over here, this would be C. So this is going to be A, and this is going to be B. Notice I have my hypotenuse. So now I've got 15 squared plus B squared equals 25 squared. So remember, this would be the most common mistake students would make, is to say 15 squared plus 25 squared equals C squared. But you'll avoid that mistake if you always find this right angle and say straight across from it is always side C, my hypotenuse. In the spirit of keeping it quick, I'm pretty sure B is going to be 20, but you can check that. 15 squared plus 20 squared equals 25 squared. And then lastly over here, what looks like a Pythagorean triple, but it's not, right? A lot of students are like, oh, a 3 and a 5, it must be a 3, 4, 5. All right, I'll just write 4 here, and then I'm done. No. Okay, this is a C, and then you set up the formula. I have both sides, so I have A and I have B. So 3 squared equals 5 squared. C 3 squared, I can't even say that. 3 squared plus 5 squared equals C squared. It's like a tongue twister. 9 plus 25 equals C squared, and C is going to be root 34. Okay? So C squared again. If I add those two here, 9 plus 25 is 34, and then square root both sides to get this. And that's exact, and you can leave it like that. So again, today we're just going to look at perimeter and area of squares and rectangles. And let's just come up with a quick formula. Perimeter, remember, is when you add up all the sides. Peri, the little suffix, the prefix there means around, so to go around. So it's going to be side plus side plus side plus side. So for a square, we're just going to take 4 times the side. And remember, that's an S, not a 5. For a perimeter, for a rectangle rather, we're still going around, but now all my sides aren't the same like they are for a square. So I've got 2 sides that are the same. This is 7, and this is 3. And we can label it, maybe this would be length, and this would be width, which means this is length, and this is width. So for a rectangle, perimeter would be 2 of my lengths plus 2 of my widths. Okay? So let's do perimeter first. Well, here we have a formula. Perimeter equals 4 times a side. A side is 9, so I have 4 times 9. My perimeter is 36. Don't forget units, centimeters. Over here, on my rectangle, my perimeter is 2 times length plus 2 width equals 2 times 7 plus 2 times 3 equals 14 plus 6 equals 20 feet. Again, don't forget units. So that would be perimeter. Let's think about area. Maybe put that in green. Hopefully you can see this all right. So area for a square is just side squared. And for a rectangle, area is length times width. This probably is a review for most of you, but just always good to make sure we feel good about it. So area side squared is going to be 9 squared is 81. The key is the unit, centimeters squared, right? It's like how many little squares can I draw in there? I can draw 9 this way, then another row of 9 and 9, and keep going on and on and on. And that's why we have 81, but it's centimeters squared. Okay. Then for a rectangle, well, we've got a formula of length times width. So 7 times 3 equals 21 feet squared. Again, get the units right. For perimeter, it's just the unit. For area, it's unit squared. Last one right down here is a, remember we want area and perimeter. I can tell I have a rectangle, so I need area is going to be length times width. Perimeter is twice the length plus twice the width to walk around. But I notice that I only have a diagonal and one side. We could call this the length if you want. So we don't know the width. And I need it in order to find both perimeter and area. So what I'm using is my tools that we learned yesterday with Pythagorean theorem and realizing I actually have a right triangle. They've given me two sides of a right triangle. So I draw straight across. This is C. So I actually have my hypotenuse, and I have one leg, and I don't have the other leg. So I could say 9 squared plus b squared. You can label that whatever you want. X squared, w squared, it's some unknown squared, equals the hypotenuse squared. So again, leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. B squared equals 225 minus 81. Some of you might have recognized this as a Pythagorean triple. So b squared equals 144, and therefore b is going to be the square root of 144, and that's 12. So this was a 9, if you remember from yesterday, a 9, 12, 15 Pythagorean triple, a multiple of the 3, 4, 5. Right? So super common, super common. If you can recognize these, you can save yourself a lot of time. You look at this, you're like, oh, 15 and one side's 9. Oh, well, this side over here must be 12. Boom, done. And I don't have to do all this stuff off to the side. But my work is not done. My goal was not to find the width. It was to find perimeter and area. So now I have, this is 12, and now I can find area. So 9 times 12 is 108. Don't forget my unit, inches squared. Perimeter is twice my length plus twice my width equals 18 plus 24 equals 42, and my unit is inches, not inches squared. So I get 108 inches squared for area, 42 inches for perimeter. That's really going to be it. Well, let's look at just really quickly how to do some of these. I'm just going to set these up, and hopefully you can figure them out. But sometimes you'll get shapes like this, and it makes the most sense. We're just finding the area, by the way, although we could find perimeter. But we just want the area, and it makes sense to split it into kind of quadrants, like maybe area 1, area 2, and area 3. And just fill in, I always think these are kind of cool, or like puzzles. Fill in some unknown spots. So the area of region 1, well, if this side's 4, and this is 1, we know it's just 1 times 4. That's just 4. Area of region 2, I've got 4. I've got this 1, but this right here is 4 because of this side over here. So this whole side here is the 1 plus the 4 is 5. So that is 4 times 5, which is 20. And then area of region 3 would be this 3 times 1 plus this was 5. So this whole thing right here is 5, which makes the whole side 6. So we're going to have 3 times 6, which is 18. And if you add that all up, you get 38 plus 4, you get 42 units squared. Okay. And lastly, over here, I have a trapezoid, so I'm going to draw a right triangle, and now I've got two shapes. Remember, this whole thing was 14, and this side's 10. So that means this must be 10 right here, and this part right here is 4. So maybe hit pause really quick and see if you can figure out how to find the area. Okay, let's call this 1 and 2. Area of 1 is going to be a triangle, which is base of 4, times my height, which is right here. But it's a right triangle, so this must be a 3, 4, 5 right triangle divided by 2. So again, area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So I have 12 over 2, I get 6 units squared. Area of the second region is just going to be this 10 times the 3, so 10 times 3 equals 30. Add to the 6, I get a total of 36 units squared. Again, you could go back and think the key was identifying this as a Pythagorean triple, so this had to be 3, and then you could find both areas. Okay, hope that was helpful. Please send me an email or a comment in Schoology if you have any questions. Thanks.